Well, I'm announcing my candidacy for town council. I worked for the town for 32 years as a first responder. In the last 8.5 years, I was the police chief for this great town. And, I retired this past May. Of course, that made the news. And, since retiring, I realized I still had a lot more that I felt I could give this town, a lot more I wanted to do, and I wanted to continue serving. And that's why I made the decision to go ahead and announce that I was running for town council. Today's really not a special date of any type. It's just go ahead and get my name out there, start campaigning and making sure folks know that I'm interested. Fortunately, much of the town, they know me and they trust me already, so I feel like hopefully that type of leadership I had as police chief and a police officer here will carry over as I continue my community service as a council member. Obviously I want to be able to listen to all of our citizens' concerns, complaints, anything that affects their quality of life. And I'm going to be very approachable and transparent. But as most candidates do, I do have several specific areas I want to focus on. And the first is our public safety. It's tops my list. We have the best police and fire departments in this nation, or in the state and nation in my mind. They do such a wonderful job. They respond to the calls when they're called on in a professional manner. They deserve to be paid appropriately, have the best equipment and best training. And as a council member, I want to make sure that this continues and they get even more support than they already have. Also, traffic concerns. That's been an ongoing issue. Since I've been working for the town for 32 years, you've heard about traffic. So I want to work with our state, the local, and our county officials, as well as the town staff, to ensure the road projects that are already been approved, get them done, you get them across the finish line, and get them done within budget. You hear about development and redevelopment all the time, so I want to make sure as a council member, I want to see that it's done in a responsible manner. Being working for the town for 32 years, I've seen how when the development outpaces your infrastructure and your staffing and your services, you may not be able to respond as you want to. So would love to see the infrastructure catch up with some of the developments going on. And then, like I said, last but not least, mental health. I mean, it's a topic now nationally, but it's always been near and dear to my heart. So mental health and substance use disorder, resources, training, and strengthening community partnerships. As police chief, that's one of the things we developed within the town, working with our community partners. We developed programs to reach out to our citizens that were in mental health crisis or substance use disorder crisis, getting the training that they needed to respond to it appropriately and then get that aftercare. There's so much more that we as a town continue to work with our partners, and I think if we can do it together, it could be a force multiplier where you've got town officials, town employees working with our community partners to do even far more than we're already doing. I honestly think, especially working in Mount Pleasant, we were a community-oriented policing agency, so we really believed in working closely with our community partners. So I've got that strong background that will continue on as I serve on council. I think I've handled just about any and every critical incident you could be, from I was here when Hurricane Hugo came through, to the different ice storms, bridge failures, the recent civil unrest we dealt with, the pandemic, and I've been right on the front of that and handling those type of situations. And I always strive to get everybody to work together. We may not see eye to eye and we have differences, but we all came to a consensus and worked together for the common good. And I think me being in law enforcement this long has given me that kind of background where I'll be able to continue using that as I serve.
And I know you're just kind of talking about the mental health and the trainings. What kind of trainings are you thinking about that should be enforced to kind of help with that mental health crisis?
Of course. Obviously the NAMI, and they have the critical incident training and crisis intervention training that's out there. I think that's important that our police department and our fire are all trained in that, and it's so they can recognize when somebody's having some type of mental health crisis, because no one crisis is the same. And I think if you respond to it in the wrong way, it can escalate and cause more of a problem. So I think it's very important we recognize that, and we as a town recognize that, and also recognize how to the Narcan training and that the town has been sponsoring along with Wake Up Carolina and Nancy Shipman and her group. She was here earlier with me. I want to continue not only maintaining what we've done, but I want to see it broaden, throughout the town, throughout with our town employees, get them more engaged, more involved. Because I don't think it can't just be a police or fire issue or EMS. It's got to be a community issue and work together. And I think it's important to recognize that de-escalation training is incredibly important in law enforcement specifically, but in any career field. You deal with somebody that's having a crisis or unruly, you need to know how to deal with it so it doesn't escalate and become something far worse, as we've seen across the nation.